Hello, and welcome to the Games of Divinity, a Northern Chronicle. A Northern Chronicle is an Exalted 3rd edition game set in the northern direction of creation. Join us as we follow the adventures of the monster hunters Atlas, played by Lauren, and Ursa, played by John, with Becca as our storyteller. Alright, so we'll start. It's the next day. You guys haven't gotten necessarily full night's sleep, but, probably about 6 hours. You guys have handled worse. You would have also noticed when you guys snuck in that the inn was particularly full that evening.
So, did we find beds?
No, you don't.
I go to sleep in one of the chairs.
Ursa will just sit down in the corner. Just, back up straight, leaning against the wall subtly and closing his eyes. Unless anybody looks real closely at that bear helmet, they probably won't be able to tell.
Probably not.
So I'd be awakened by the hustle and bustle of people in the morning.
Mostly Bridget and her helpers preparing breakfast for the overly stuffed inn. And in the back there was men sleeping on the ground as well.
So I'm here for breakfast!
Bridget kind of looks your way. She's got bags under her eyes because it was a late night the previous evening with her extra guests. And she, within a few minutes, comes over and has a plate of eggs and bacon and a cup of some hot liquid for you.
I put a hand on her hand. Thank you. Gullible. You're a lifesaver.
And for Ursa, a pig is being prepared.
No, Ursa's awakening is a little bit more subtle. You just kind of start shifting. Like seeing a stone statue slowly become animate. That's basically how Ursa looks as he's waking up from that corner. Nice. Before moving over onto a seat or sitting on the ground near his table.
Move the chair. Sit where the chair was.
Well, that's what happens when you're so tall.
Exactly.
Yeah, I took Giant for a reason. It's so that I could play these sorts of things out.
He also has to hunch when he walks in. And...
Yeah. Well, how tall are the ceilings in this place?
It's pretty open, so you would probably be one of the taller patrons. It's, you might have to duck under the door a little bit. You definitely would, but it's one of those open, the roofs are thatched.
Mm-hmm. So in the middle, he doesn't have to duck.
Yeah, under the middle you don't have to duck, but the closer you get to the sides, with you sitting, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Every house is a dollhouse.
You have to...
Pretty much, yeah. You
do have to pay attention to the support beams going along.
Yes, and he does.
Your breakfast, however, is probably 10, 20 minutes later.
That's fine.
As I'm finishing and I start sipping on the hot liquid, just letting it warm me. It's so nice to be.
Bridget comes by and you can see it's quite literally a pig as well as some beer for you, because it's the morning.
I mean, breakfast of champions, pork and beer. Ursa got big and strong somehow.
Gonna have to give her another dinar here one of these days. All the food you're eating.
Oh no, he definitely pays for it.
I paid for both of us for...
How was hunting? She says in a hushed, whispered voice. She's clearly not ready for the other patrons to be getting up yet.
Successful.
Need a great terror head for your wall.
We have two. One's smaller.
She kind of slyly smiles. That would work really well here.
I don't know if you've got a clear wall for a head that size, but I'm sure you can manage.
She kind of looks up at more of the support beams. She goes, I think I'd want to put it right there, pointing right above the door. There's a support beam right in front of it. That way everybody sees it as they sit down or when they try to leave.
Have anybody in town who's good with stuffing and preserving animal heads?
There's one or two people that are passable.
I'm mostly good with tanned hides. Not good at making it continue to look like an animal.
Okay, so we consume breakfast.
And I'll tell her to give us the recommendation of the taxidermist she prefers. And then we'll get the heads over to that person. Oh, ask her if she wants the big one or the small one.
How big are we talking?
I pull out my arms.
Her eyes kind of just go wide as you actually do the dimensions, and as nice as it would be to deter certain rowdy customers, the smaller one would probably be the only one that would fit.
All right.
So we go out back and we pick up the two heads, and Ursa's carrying the big one and I'm carrying the smaller one, and we go marching down the street to find the taxidermist. I wonder if that's it. I look over at the house with a big sign with a hide on it. I don't know if that's the leatherworker or the taxidermist.
If it's the leatherworker, we'll know where the taxidermist is.
True of that. Let's go in and talk.
Okay, so it is still fairly early in the morning, but there are people getting up. The shop owners are getting their shops ready, and a few of the townsfolk are getting up before the town's guests basically start to make their rounds for the day. So there's a few people, and as you guys are like walking through, you see people in the middle of whatever they're doing, and they just kind of stop and look at you. And just as you walk down the street, a few of the women kind of give you your space and softly whisper towards each other. And there is no giggling, unfortunately, for you.
Oh, no. I took the horde merit specifically for such a thing. No, it's, I'm sure there's a woman or two that's into that. I don't imagine that's the...
That is not the majority of the women. That is clear about it.
I had a fantastic idea that I'll talk to Becca about for that, but that we'll get past that.
Oh my god, why?
Don't worry. I already have ideas.
Please no.
But we're talking like
down the road.
Please no.
Hey, it's all story stuff.
I know.
Anyways, as you're at this particular place with a sign that has what you imagine is some kind of hide. It looks like a bear hide. There is actually two men arguing about a price of a piece of armor.
So we walk up. I guess we'd be walking side by side with him carrying the two things. And they're standing in front, you said?
Yeah,
okay.
Standing out front. Again, this is one of the, not a longhouse, but more of a personal, so obviously this person lives here, as well as running business out of there. And I'd say probably further on the outskirts of the village town area, because it smells.
It would be the actual leather worker.
Yeah.
So we approach and stand there and kind of look at them.
One of them's very clearly the owner of the establishment. He has a leather apron on. He looks to be tired and frustrated with the customer who's wearing nicer clothing. I am considering that they're coming in to ask about armor, and they're arguing over price, and the leather worker is just pinching the bridge of his nose between his fingers, closing his eyes and going, no, I cannot go any lower than this. And the other man's starting to get a little frustrated with him as well.
So I, smiling, kind of start to approach. Hello. I am turning to not the man who's interested in the armor, but the actual taxidermist. Me and my companion have secured some trophies recently, and we're interested in your services to try to preserve them. I do see that you seem to be engaged in a current activity, but it seems that this man's not willing to pay the price that you find to be fair. Would you be interested in other work?
The customer looks at you affronted. How dare you come in, and then starts to take a look at Ursa, and he's
actually,
just
as soon as he
shrieks.
says, how dare, Ursa growls. And looks down at him specifically.
I will dare to do anything I like, but I don't find myself to be inappropriate in this circumstance, as you seem to be at an impasse with the person that you were trying to do business with. Pay him what he deserves, or don't. But there's no use arguing.
The man kind of has obviously shrunk down and just goes through his little coin purse and just mumbles and puts it in the hand of the tanner. And he's like, no, expect Thursday. And he just turns around and walks away. Slinks away, I think would be a more appropriate term, back into town.
Well, it does seem like you've got an ongoing project.
Aye.
Could we show you what we'd be interested in having preserved in your shop?
Yes. You pull both
We
sacks.
walk inside. Yeah.
No, there's not enough room in his house
enough.
for
Yeah.
all of you.
Okay.
You guys are
So
too big.
you put it down on the porch.
Yeah, put it.
Yeah.
And pull him off his shoulders, put him down on the porch, and the guy just I mean, we're talking the biggest one easily comes up to probably about his chest level. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, what is this? As he begins to open up one of the bags. Oh.
I'm sorry, they were killed last night. These are called Great Terrors. They're effectively large wolves.
He starts to look at her more. I haven't done one of these before. He begins to haggle with you.
Sure. He tries to haggle with me.
Yeah. He throws out a number that you would think...
He's obviously starting high.
Yeah, he's starting high. He says 20 dinar to start.
Oh my god.
Wow. So that does seem like an excessive amount. And I will actually proceed to negotiate with him. You know what? I look at his house. I look at how well fed he is. I try to get an idea of how this guy's doing. It's more this guy's house. Does it look run down a little bit? Does he look like he's, starving? Does he look well fed? I'm looking at the details.
He is a beanstalk of a man.
Okay.
So he's thin, got a thin build, but he doesn't look malnourished by any means.
So he's thin but not gaunt.
Yes.
Okay.
And the house is... I mean, there's things that are neglected simply because you imagine he's just busier, but...
I have an actual counteroffer if you don't mind me taking.
As a note, how much was he charging the man? Because they were arguing about it, I'm assuming we overheard.
It was probably 5 dinar.
Yeah.
You're not 100% sure what specifically...
Sure, it could be super fine full plate, it could be, probably not for 5 dinar, but yeah, I understand.
4 dinar, and you get to keep the big head as a showcase.
Or sell it if you'd like. I'm sure it's worth quite a bit.
Kind of see the wheels in his head turning a little bit. You have yourself a deal.
Great. Once the smaller one is done, deliver it to the inn. Bridget will take delivery.
So he goes to try to lift it, and he's...
Let me help you.
And as much as I presume you'll want to make sure that this is preserved sooner rather than later, I do understand that you have other business to do. We're not in a hurry, as long as you do good work.
Of course.
Have a wonderful day.
It's like, and he starts to busy
himself. So you
with
pay him the 4 dinar?
Yeah, I'll pay him the 4 dinar.
Okay.
That'll come out of my funds.
That's a good negotiation tactic there.
Actually, it's funny because I had thought of that exact tactic, except I was going to do no dinars, because you can just sell the other one or whatever. But you beat me to it, so it's all good.
Chris is a leather worker. He feels like the guy needs to be paid for his time, but not that exorbitantly. So...
Hey, he didn't know you guys.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, nobody does. Yet.
So, I turn to you. What should we do next?
Could tell Yarvik that the problem in the mountains is solved.
It's true. We could even refer him to the tannery if he requires proof.
And see if anything else that we can do in the area.
It's bothering his people, his lands. The lands he's been entrusted to take care of. Yeah, let's go do that. So we make our way towards his house / place of...
So yeah, the steward's office. I think I described him as being another slender-built man.
I think he was more gaunt.
Yeah, he was more gaunt, having been more busy. On your way, so it's a little bit... Some time has passed.
Is it still super rainy and everything? Actually, what's the weather like today?
Misting.
Okay. The ground is damp, but not necessarily as muddy.
I don't know, the ground's still muddy, because it hasn't really stopped raining. It's just not the downpour.
Okay.
So you start to make your way back into town and up towards the Carl's house. On your way there, you hear a man calling out after you.
We will stop and look back.
Are you the person who did the leather work for Lady Bridget?
Yes.
I would like to see your wares, good sir. It was exceptional work that you did, and obviously you're a traveling merchant. I'd be very curious to see what you have.
My friend only does custom orders, and only then for those he deems worthy of them.
I kill things for a living. I've learned how to make things out of their hides. I don't have a stock.
As I said, custom orders only. And that's assuming he's willing to accept your order, which only those of sufficient value and worth are able to do. You don't measure worth in money, you know that. He has to like you.
During this process, are you saying this like with a low, like kind of upset growl at all? Are you trying to scare him off?
I'm not trying to scare him off, but he's mildly annoyed.
And I'm amused, so I'm not...
He's just feeding into it.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm also being truthful. You did it for Bridget because you like her. You are not going to do it for this guy because you don't. Money's not really the object.
And Ursa's trying to get across that he's a warrior, not an artisan.
Right. You can be both.
With that exchange, he kind of realizes, oh, I seem to have misunderstood. Have a good day. And he just kind of rushes off.
Shake my head. Turn back to the path of reward.
Yeah, and we continue forward, and I muttered to you, well, I suppose one of the downsides of creating such wonderful works of art is people might want them.
Just stop telling people I take commissions.
You do take commissions. Bridget asked you to do them, and you did them. That's a commission.
I solicited work. She had work. There's a difference.
It was on your terms. So as long as the terms are right, you're a craftsman.
You're lucky I like this town.
Why, would you burn it to the ground?
No, he'd punch me through it. And
you and I would be rehashing our
exactly.
Nice. I approve. You always can.
Yeah, but as I said, he likes this town.
Okay. You guys definitely have been noticing more people out and about. More men than there were yesterday. It seems like when you came, while you were gone, there's a few finely dressed men going about town. And servants of different rankings as the day starts to move on. And you make your way up to the Carl's longhouse. It's actually, there's 3 unique areas. One where there's the office that you have been in before, the much bigger hall with the Carl's living area, and then there's one off to the side that's smaller, which you can see servants coming in and out of. And then off in the distance a little bit, there's a barn for the animals that they keep here. You see servants bustling in from the servant quarters to the hall, and you can see brief, as like the door opens and closes, you can see men sitting down at long tables. Much busier than it was yesterday.
Let's go find the steward.
We walk through the appropriate areas and, look for the steward's office. Or the steward himself.
Okay. Yeah, no, the steward is in his office, and he seems to be giving out orders to some of the servants. You get the impression that he's arranging something for later in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I pull out the slip of paper that he gave me about the Great Terrors, and I pull out a rock that I have kept, and the flint rock or something to that effect, and basically just do a scratch across the paper.
Without addressing him directly?
While I'm waiting for him, I do this, and then when he turns to me, I'll hand him the paper. Complete.
This was in the mountains.
There are 2 Great Terrors who are having their heads preserved at the taxidermy. You can go ahead and check if you'd like.
We also travel quickly.
He looks like he might say something and then obviously thinks better of it. He actually, from his own purse, will pull out several dinar and put them into... Actually, he'll just put 10 on his desk for both of you.
More beer money.
So we're here, and we hand him the thing. Thank you.
I will make sure to send one of my servants to check it out.
Not planning on going anywhere, and we'll be happy to give your silver back if you find our case wanting, but you won't. In the meantime, is there anything else that you need investigated?
I'm sure you've noticed that several had much more company recently.
Yes, I've seen people who look out of sorts.
The Carl's getting ready to organize a hunt. There have been hellboars in the farmlands that have been bothering our people.
Hellboars. Like boars, but much larger, more aggressive, rip a man in half. I don't know if a hunt would be a great option, unless you have an army with you.
Well, that's why several of the lords from around the farmlands are coming in. As well as there is a dynast who will be accompanying. He's on his way through to Crash and has offered his aid.
Do you happen to be aware of what family he's associated with?
House Catholic.
Oh, House Catholic. Interesting. Their warriors are capable. Oh, well, that is interesting. Should we head back to the tavern?
Yeah, why not for now? There's no more immediate work.
I have an idea to entertain us.
Oh?
I believe I heard you say something about a street fight some time ago. I wonder if anybody would be willing to take you on. We could find out.
Yes, I did say that. We were both drunk. You thought it was a terrible idea.
At the time. I'm sober now.
Jarvik just kind of looks at you. If you're gonna do something like that, keep it out of the town.
Yes.
We can arrange it outside the town proper, not a problem.
I like this town. I most likely wouldn't fight inside it.
This town would like to keep liking you.
Have a wonderful day. Let us know if there's anything that you need.
I'll have my servants get in touch with you.
Excellent. I don't think lunch is served yet, but if there's nothing else to do, might as well stock up on food.
Yeah.
And drink ourselves into oblivion. We did just get paid.
Yeah, but I think it's still morning.
Yep. It takes us a while to get to the point of being drunk.
Yeah, sure. Like, also our Exalted appear to be alcoholics, but that's because they have to start drinking at dawn and be drunk by dusk.
I know, right? Oh, I know.
Okay, you head back to Bridget's Inn.
Yep. We come inside and...
There's hardly any space to sit down, as people are either having breakfast still or starting to have lunch. And Bridget and her staff seem to be very busy running back and forth.
We walk inside, and I look around, and this is probably not a great idea, but it is pretty darn funny to me. So, everybody, if I can have your attention for a moment, please.
Oh my god, he's doing it.
My friend...
Actually, Ursa's reaction.
My friend here is one of the strongest, most amazing pit fighters you have ever seen. Are there any takers who would be willing to best him in a drinking contest, a fist fight, or a throwing contest to see how far you can throw a like-sized boulder? We will allow teams against him. Betting is advised, and all of these activities would have to happen outside of town, and to respect the local authorities. Is there anybody who'd be interested in this, or betting on him, or against him?
Okay, we're going to boil this down to a charisma plus... Is presence a thing?
It is. Do I
You
get
can
stunt
see
dice?
Bridget just kind of like... I don't know, you can almost see like the what are they thinking on her face.
Do I get a stunt dice?
Yes, you do get a stunt dice.
I'm using 10 personal notes. 7. There might not be enough people in the tavern. Everybody in the town might be coming. Word spreads.
There is a lot of commotion as people start to talk at their own tables, and you can feel the excitement in the room. It's clear that there wasn't going to be a lot of entertainment today, and with how busy it is, people are ready to be entertained. It's better than just sitting in the inn getting drunk all day.
I'm helping reduce violence in the town because less people will be interested in mischief if they're entertained.
By providing an outlet.
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
channeling it.
So here's what I'm going to say. Since you rolled so well, you get to organize the events.
Yeah, that's totally good. I'll start taking bets and, basically acting as the bookie. No, actually better yet. Mm-hmm. I will make my way over to Bridget. Mm-hmm. So I saw the look on your face, and I'm kind of feeling like you would make a pretty good bookie. You're respected in the town. You'd get a huge cut. I think this would be a very positive business decision.
20 years down the road, when Bridget owns the largest, most illustrious inn in the north. Remember back to this day. Where she got...
I'll run that for you. As long as
You're not running it for me, you're running it for you.
You already sold her on the idea. Just let her...
Yeah, say your thing.
As long as you make sure any sore losers are...
I can play
Don't
the
try
force.
to...
Also, you're friends with Ursa. I don't think anybody will try anything. Not after they see what he does to whoever challenges him.
Alright, and then you start getting people asking questions about how many people versus this.
Do you have 5? Do you have 10? I don't think it matters, is my response.
Technically, I would be willing to fight a battle group.
That's how I'm treating it.
Oh my god. I love you guys. This is great. Okay. Yeah, and then Bridget then starts stepping in. She's like, it's going to happen out in the western field. I'm going to start taking bets. What do you want to... And then she just starts organizing it all for you. And kind of in between, she tells her girls to get you guys some food.
And I basically act kind of as I'm not... Any beds or anything that somebody tries to address to me, I brush off to her, but otherwise I'm, talking and answering questions and that kind of thing. And just kind of... Me and Bridget being the center of attention as Ursa kind of hangs out in a corner and is like, what has just happened?
Well, now he's got to find a secure place to store his armor so it's not stolen.
Nobody else can lift it.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
You do get a few of the would-be contenders just kind of stare you down, kind of like trying to size you up a little bit.
So do we want to do 3 contests? Drinking, punching, and log throwing?
Might want to do the punching last, otherwise some of them might not be in good enough shape.
I don't know, Ursa. I think you're going to drink everybody under the table anyway. They're not going to be in good shape for that either. I just want.
We'll see.
We'll see what people want to challenge you to. Actually,
Bridget would organize it so that drinking is last.
Okay. Oh yeah, help dull the pain. I like it.
On a related note, the whole drinking contest thing is going to be great for her sales. So not only does she get a cut of that, she's going to be out of alcohol here in a minute.
Yeah. Alrighty. Oh my gosh. How is Ursa feeling about this? What's going on in his head?
He is mildly disgruntled. He normally is the center of attention just by existing. He doesn't like when people actively shine the light on him and be like, hey, look at this guy! So he's mildly perturbed about that. Is slightly concerned about injuring some of the townsfolk. But on the other hand, he thinks this could be more fun than just sitting in the bar all day. That's where his headspace is at right now.
Gotcha.
Just more of mildly annoyed that he's actually making this a thing. He's just like, fuck it, I'll go through with it.
I do notice, Ursa, kind of the glares that you were giving me earlier. Mm-hmm. And I, at some point, will kind of wander towards you and kind of, not talking to you face to face, but kind of stand next to you.
You guys are standing, yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
And I mutter, once people get a chance to see what you can do, there might be more people who would be willing to trust you with hunting down giant monsters. We're not wrong.
Stop logicking it out. I am already gonna do it.
You're gonna have a good time. Just enjoy it.
He's gonna stretch. Actually, I think what he's gonna do is he's actually gonna leave his armor at the inn, under Bridget and her staff's care, because not only does he trust them, but most people wouldn't be able to lift up the armor anyway, so it's not a big deal.
She'll direct you to a place to put it, kind of in the kitchen area that's not in the way.
Alright.
It's a lot of armor.
So he'll head back there and remove all the armor. Probably takes close to 10-20 minutes to get it all off. And then afterwards he's going to come back out. He is wearing pants.
Okay.
However, he is barefoot, bare-chested. They can actually see the entire bear claw mark, running over his entire face. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have a flaw to this effect. It's just kind of cinematic, but he does only have the one eye. And then other various scars and pock marks and everything else from other battles, across his torso. And then they can also see that a lot of the size was not the armor.
This does catch Bridget off guard, but she knows you, so it makes a big difference. You come out and she's like, all right.
He does have a full head of hair. He's not balding, and his hair is about shoulder level. At this point, it's kind of like a steely gray.
Do you have a beard?
No, because of the aforementioned scars.
If anything, this starts to get the men more riled up. Yeah.
I'll say it's just a brawl. There's no weapons, so it's unfair to wear the armor.
You're going to do this the Scottish way. You guys aren't going to throw rocks. You're going to throw logs.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you would have noticed that at one point, Bridget would have singled out a couple men who you put together that they work for her, kind of as just to make sure people are doing good, or she's somehow paying them. And then she whispers to them, and they head out the door to get stuff going. Anything else that you guys would like to do before we move on to the next scene?
There's some other stuff that I was thinking about doing. I will wander out into the woods and recast Skin of Bronze, just to make sure that I keep that up.
Okay. Do you want to go out with the men that she sent out?
I'll go out with them, but then basically go off on my own a little ways into the woods, so I'm by myself when I cast it.
Okay.
And then find my way back to them.
We'll kind of fast forward.
Camera comes off of us while the stuff is happening.
Bridget manages to organize everybody to meet in the West Field, where the men have been working on cutting down some trees as quickly as they can. So they're getting ready for the throwing contest. The first one is going to be the log throwing.
Yeah.
We'll get that started. So there's 2 logs and...
Yeah, because how it works is basically they pick up the log and they hold the bottom of it with their hands, like leaning the rest of it against their torso and everything. Sometimes they'll get a running start, whatever they need to do, and then push the log forward and
so
put
they try to
force on the bottom of it.
Yeah, to try to flip it?
To try and flip it and launch it as far as they can.
Okay, because if they actually flip, so the bottom part ends up flipping over, like it counts for their distance, right?
The caber toss. I mean, honestly, that one's probably mechanically just a strength plus athletics roll, and the person who gets the most is the one who wins.
And because of all the commotion that this has been starting, you guys start to notice that it's not just the people in the bar who are in.
Not shocked.
It's the town people have come to watch as well.
How long does it take is actually a relevant question. To get set up and things moving in an hour, 2 hours?
It's going to be an hour.
Okay.
Alright, so we're starting off with the log throwing contest. So here is how Bridget sets it up. Anyone who wants to will get an opportunity to participate.
Okay.
You will be the person who does it last.
Yes.
On any ties, we'll go through it again.
I will bet 15 dinars that he wins this one.
So if he's expected to win...
Then you don't get much of a return.
So if the odds are like 4-1.
I think I would get like 25% of my winnings back kind of thing. Difficulty 2 to flip it to even succeed, and then the more successes you get, the farther it goes.
Okay, I think that's a good way to do it. So first guy, pretty scrawny, goes up, probably one of the town folks who's just got really excited and puts every ounce into it that he has, flips it. Everyone's just cheering, and it actually goes a respectable distance.
Yeah.
I cheer for him. I'm not betting on him, but I'm cheering for him.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's excited. So,
exactly.
Right? So
yeah. I'll clap him on the back as he returns off the field.
Wow.
The second person flips it. It's roughly the same distance.
That one doesn't damage.
This person almost gets it to flip, and then it falls back, and everybody's like, "Aww." And there's time in between each rolls as everybody's getting it set up.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So this is one of what you would imagine would be one of the troops that has maybe come in with that dragon blood that you heard about. He was around when the announcements were being made, and he just also really lets it in. That's
5 successes.
Yeah.
This person, oh wow, another flip. But just, it's not the same distance every time. Like, everyone's getting really excited.
So you have 3 people who are basically tied so far.
This is the first person who hasn't gotten any successes, and everyone's just kind of like...
It was a good attempt.
Yeah, it was a good attempt. Good try. Alright. So this takes a good portion of an hour for every, success. I'm going to say that people who... There's people in between who really tried and just couldn't get to flip and didn't get any successes. So all this has taken, I said an hour, I'm going to say an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then it's Ursa's turn.
Ursa's going to spend 3 personal motes. See what happens here.
See if I lose money.
No, you don't. Let's see. We have 9.
Oh. Would you like to describe this?
Essentially, according to what I just looked up about the caber toss, distance is irrelevant. However, the large end of the caber hits the ground first, and I'd say depending upon how many successes you roll, you do the best if it lands in a 12 o'clock position from the thrower. So the closer it is to 12 o'clock, the better. Ursa essentially picks the log up with one hand, tosses it up in the air to catch it in his palm, before launching it through the air. The large end hits the ground, and it falls at a perfect 12 o'clock position from where he is.
From the far side of the field.
From the far side of the field.
Everybody goes nuts when they see this. It's just... and you got some people that are just like, come on! What? How?
I know, right?
Even though you're this big burly guy,
It was said that I am the strongest person. Possibly.
That's true. People are starting to believe this.
Yeah, like I've got a 5 strength. The book states it's a legendary level of strength.
Yeah, it really is.
So I am curious. How are you interacting with competitors during all of this?
He's being reasonably friendly. He's not like trying to intimidate people to get them to back down or anything.
Any more than normal.
A lot of his intimidation comes from existing. Like, some of the things he just has. So, like, he's not against socializing with them. He's obviously a person of few words. But, he's congratulating them on the good throws,
Okay.
And that's our competition. I think it's settled. Hands down, we have Ursa. Now, the real question is, will anybody take him on in the brawl? Who wants to get knocked out face first and unconscious for 3 or 4 weeks?
As Bridget just kind of actually she's got people kind of crowding around her. She's handing out money,
and I'm standing very near her.
Yeah, and Ursa's gonna move into the designated fighting area, just like stretching his neck, like doing a few stretches out there, getting ready. Like that. Because now that they've seen what he can do during the log
they're
throw,
not going to one-on-one him.
They know what he's capable of on a strength fashion. They don't exactly know how good of a brawler he is. Again, legendary. It's a supernal ability at 5.
Yeah, no, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I actually want you both to make a perception plus awareness roll. Difficulty 2.
The hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I realize that somebody should be looking for, or something interesting is happening.
4? Okay.
And I look over in that direction. 1,
Holy
2,
shit.
3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
Okay. You guys notice in between the caper toss for the various people, quite a number of people were trickling down from the Carl's Longhouse. And you notice that there are several really well-dressed nobles in that who have come to not participate, but to
enjoy
watch.
the festivities, as it were. The impromptu fair.
And there seems to be more and more activity coming from the Westfield and the Carl's house.
Okay. Noted. Great. I then become less loud.
Alright.
I mean, still not trying to slink, but
Yeah, no, that's fine. It takes about a half an hour for Bridget to do all the betting. She was passing out money for the caper toss. You did 15.
I did 15, so I win 4.
And she starts to keep track of the stuff.
So what are the odds on him for this? And what's his competition? And then we'll talk about the odds.
So it takes her half an hour to pass out the winnings from the last one because there's not many people participating. She then starts to take in who's taking him on. People have been forming teams throughout this. We're going to say that there is one battle group.
5 guys, 10 guys, 2 guys.
Battle group, I'm going to put them up against 5 guys.
5 guys, size 1. Okay.
Yeah, size 1. There's going to be a duo who challenges you and a single gentleman.
Okay. I'm not going to underestimate the single guy. He clearly has big enough brass balls to step up to the plate. So back that up.
Exactly.
We'll see. We'll try to keep this interesting. So Bridget announces the groups, the different groups, and then she starts taking betting on that, which then takes another half an hour as you're sitting there just like...
So what are the odds on him at this point? 4 to 1, 5 to 1, 10 to 1?
The battle groups will be 10 to 1.
Okay.
And it's more of a possibility that the people would take him out. There we go. The 2 will be 5 to 1.
So they think it's less likely for him to win against the battle group, and they think that the duo will be more likely to take him out. Got it. 10 to 1 means they really expect him to win.
Yeah.
5 to 1.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And then we'll do 4 to 1 for the individual guy.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and bet 60 dinars on him for the first fight.
That's like all the money you have, basically.
Well, I'll bet 9. It's a battle group. You're going to crush them. Second thought, you're not worth betting on for that one. I don't feel like I'll be able to bet for all of them. So I'll put my money on. We'll see how the first one goes, and then I'll...
Yeah, she starts by taking bets for the first fight.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a group of 5 men against you. They're all shirtless, like 2 bigger guys I mean, they're all so small, you can eat them all for breakfast. But they kind of seem to be getting up their courage to fight you, like building it up amongst each other. Bridget makes an announcement, and then she tells you guys to fight. So join battle.
4?
Yeah, I got 4.
So,
Yes, you're first.
so I'm going to make a withering attack against the battle group.
Okay, so they're, just to describe this for you,
Yep.
you guys are kind of in a muddy pit. There used to be grass, but they basically just moved the crowd and it's just mud now.
Yeah.
They're kind of in a half moon shape, not around you, but close to you, like they're gonna try
jump
close
you.
in on you.
Yep. Ursa's going to react with this withering attack, which cinematically, as one closes in, he just pops someone with this jab to the face just hard enough that it actually knocks him back a few steps. Just with an open hand, outright shoves one into the other one, knocking them both down. 8 successes.
Ah, so close.
So they scatter.
Okay, so then cinematically, he probably thought that's what he was doing in his head. But how it actually ended up working out was that jab was more of a straight and just knocked the guy flat on his back. And instead of just knocking the other 2 down, he sent them sprawling, 3 feet.
Flying out of the ring or whatever that they're in. And then all the people were
And then the other 2 that were remaining were just
They looked at each other. And
yeah,
they
we're
we're out.
Yeah, just that look of horror on their faces. They go to help their buddies, and it's very clear that they're not going to attack you because, you might have just killed their friends.
It's bashing.
I didn't kill
And with battle groups, it's different, but still, yeah.
They're unconscious.
Exactly.
Good work. That is how most of those fights go down.
And we have Ursa. Next up, we have the dynamic duo. For sake of the record, we will assume that I am not announcing it because I want to bet on him when I want to bet on him.
Okay. You asked Bridget to basically organize things, so she's the one who's announcing everything. I'm just not going to do this showmanship.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, so yes, this is the 5-1 odds.
Okay.
It's just a gross overestimation
Of their ability.
of their abilities.
5-1.
I mean, I'm just concerned about that final guy. I'm wondering if he's another hidden Exalted or a Lunar or something. We'll see how that goes.
Sure. I'll bet 60 dinars on him.
Oh, God.
Hand her 60 dinars.
Yeah, 5 years worth of wages.
5 years worth of wages.
Oh gosh. But at this point, some of the nobles have
that would explain.
come to start betting in on it too. And
They can outbet me by a significant margin.
I will have you, you're too busy with the battle groups to really make this roll. Perception plus awareness.
Yeah, I will not.
Atlas.
As I'm watching the crowds, trying to get a feel for how things are going, I notice something odd in the distance. Difference in the crowd. 4.
Okay, you really do notice a difference in the crowd. You see a man who is dressed more finely than any of the more nobles around for the area. It's not like he's wearing gold or any of that kind of stuff, but or jade by any means.
Jade would be noticeable for sure.
But you see, he's clearly decked out in more or less a waterproof outer coat that has fur up around his neck. He's an older gentleman with a hard look about him. He has gray streaks, dark black hair that are pulled back into a braid, and he has a thick, luscious beard. He's wearing gloves, and he's attended by a woman who's wearing a fox fur around her as a part of her jacket and ensemble. The style of clothing is very similar to Bridget's in that she has an a white dress with a dress apron, but it's very clearly a elegant dress apron and not meant for actually getting dirty in.
It's more decorative.
It's more decorative. There's more neat details. She also has dark black hair, roughly the same age. So she has some gray streaks, and her hair is braided and pulled back as well. The other person of note, you see someone of a more Asian descent, also black hair, wearing thick fur. His style of dress is very different to this area. More what you would akin to the realm. And I'm apparently out of description, so this is what he looks like.
Okay. Oh, I notice almost immediately. He stands out.
Yeah, he stands out like a sore
look.
thumb compared to the other people in this area. Mm-hmm. Their group has more people, but those are the people of notes.
Right. I assume they have guards or something with them.
They do. All right. Second battle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and roll battle.
I got 7.
Okay, this guy also got 7.
Okay, that means we're going to clash.
The other guy's going to go first, though. He got...
Holy shit. 3 10s.
This might be bad for you.
It might be, depending upon
9.
whether or not he gets past my defenses.
Bridget announces the...
Duet.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Actually, that's a good... gives me mind. So, instead of being like that typical superhero, they got the 6-pack and whatnot, it's very clear that they're strong in a real way.
Yeah.
Their muscle is there, they're thick, but it's not defined like how we see
right.
it. So, they're much more formidable than those last several groups.
Okay.
The one on your left, kind of like you guys do a little bit of a pacing and they start to like break off and kind of surround you a little bit. And the one off to your left goes in, digging into the mud, attempting not to slip and everything. He's going straight for that blind spot with your eye, and he's just going to punch you square in the jaw.
Well, to his surprise, he's going for the blind spot, but my stunted parry is that without even looking in that direction, my hand comes up to grab his fist mid-strike and hold it in its place.
4.
For withering damage.
You were able to block part of it as you hold up your hand, but he's able to... He just got like the pinky knuckle, and it slid off and hit you more in the nose. Oh my gosh, I love this idea. It's terrible. So as that person has done that, the other guy takes his cue, and he also makes a running leap at you, going for your midsection and try to pull you down that way.
Okay.
So this is...
Alright, for my parry for him, he leaps at me, and I try and grab him by the throat as my parry.
As he telegraphed his move by going, ah!
Yeah.
Did I overestimate these guys?
You might have overestimated John.
Yeah.
I know. Jesus. Alright, I get 3.
And this is when I bet on you too.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm crashed.
The Avenger.
Ursa has 10 personal notes. Things are going to happen.
Shouldn't you have 13?
I spent 3 earlier. The one hits me, the one jumps on my chest and fails to knock me over. But essentially, the one that's on my chest, like right here, kind of staring me in the face, he hasn't knocked me over. So Ursa growls, rears his head back, and slams it into the other guy's forehead.
As he expected to really just take you off balance, he didn't realize this until just the last moment as he starts to try to get out of the way of the headbutt.
Alright, so only 8.
The crowd is cheering as you seem to be making a comeback, and the guys are getting ready another concise attack to put you off balance. These two seem to have been fighting together for a long time because they're almost working in tandem. They are working in tandem to take you out. The one that attempted to punch you, or who punched you in the face earlier, he took a step back as you fought his friend, and he comes back and is gonna go for a gut shot this time.
And is the other guy still clinging to my midsection?
No,
or did he drop off after that?
He did drop off, kind of realizing, oh, you're going to hit me? Yeah, I'm gonna protect myself a little bit. But he's still within, like, easy striking distance. Did you want to do something with your...
So he's going for a gut shot?
Yep, I imagine, like, right, that spot right under your ribs. Kind of trying to get you unbalanced in one direction.
Okay. His stunt for parry, it gives the appearance of just taking it. He essentially flexes his torso muscles and pushes into the blow to rob it of momentum.
Nice. Okay, definitely 1 point spent on that.
So 5.
You rob him of his momentum. Yes.
Alright.
And you are not unbalanced at all. The other guy, expecting you to have kind of barreled over in one direction, from the other side of you, going to attempt to hit you more in the chest area to completely, like, flip over the other guy. However, he just sees this just a moment too late and doesn't realize it's not really going to work, but he's going to try to land the hit anyways.
And utilizing his head like before, he actually brings his forehead down, using the bone to block the blow.
Ooh. You're going for a head? Oh, man! Oh, I like that. Okay. Oh, yeah, definitely 1 point stun.
Okay, so 4. It's my parry.
2.
It doesn't crash me.
You're at 3. Okay. It's your turn. You get 5 motes back.
Awesome. I'm going to spend 5 more motes, and essentially my next withering attack is going to attempt not to throw off the brother who hit him in the forehead, but the other one.
The one that tried to gut punch you.
Yep. To basically doing something a little bit more tactical than probably they were expecting from someone of his size, as he deftly hooks his foot behind the other ones around the Achilles tendon and rips his foot backward to pull it out from under him and get him falling.
So he falls face first?
Like stumbles backward, actually.
Okay.
Because then he's going to follow it up.
Oh, gotcha. Nice. Definitely get a 1 point stun for that. He would have attempted to basically move his leg out of the way so that you couldn't. So, so we're going to say 5 because he's going to try to...
14.
Oh, you did crash him!
You get a +5 initiative break for crashing him.
Yep.
Alright, so that wraps it back to the top. What you gonna do?
And this is where he follows up.
Gotcha. So he's totally, like, comically, his legs, first leg goes up into the air, the other one then falls, and he's, like, landed hard on his back.
Well, cinematically, this is actually before he hits the ground. He's still up in the air when his fist comes down like a hammer, driving him into the mud.
Nice.
It wasn't a decisive attack. It's only awkward.
Yeah. 1 point stun.
Okay. Here's how we've decided to do this. If I made a decisive attack, I wouldn't be able to hold back enough to not kill these guys, which I imagine would go over poorly. Still the same stunt, but it's going to be a withering attack.
Okay. He would attempt to, like, grab your fist in order to lessen the blow.
He takes 6 more initiative damage.
The other guy, realizing that his buddy's out for the count, is going to make a last attempt to try to really take you out. So he's actually going to do a decisive attack against you.
Yeah. Actually, Ursa's going to show off how agile he is without the armor, and he's going to use evasion. Instead of, like, trying to parry the blow or run with momentum or anything like that, he actually gracefully ducks under it before getting ready to put the guy in a full Nelson from behind.
You definitely evade him. Like, he telegraphed everything to you.
So back around to me then.
Yes.
I initiate a grapple. I have 8 rounds of control.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to sacrifice all of them, with 3 of them being moved, for a withering slam. Basically grabs him around the waist from behind and suplexes him into the ground.
Gosh.
12.
Alright, that crushes him. Yeah. The crowd just kind of, this was like 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah. This fight actually lasted a little while as opposed to some of the other ones.
It's still seconds, though.
Yeah, still seconds.
Yeah. Ursa will... But the thing is, it's a harder time than Ursa's had in a fight in a while. So he'll actually, like, shake both of their hands, like, and help them up out of the mud.
And the crowd has been cheering just as soon as this ends. Bridget gets about ready to announce the next fight. That's when the guy's like, yeah, no.
I'm good.
He's like, I thought I could do this, but... Like...
Exactly. He kind of, like, comes up and is like, good fight, man. maybe no, I got more training to do.
Yeah. They, like, refund the bet on that one because the fight never happened.
Yeah. So people get their money back, but you got...
12 dinars.
12 dinars on top of... Good job.
That's because he didn't lose.
He built a small fortune on treating me as a gladiator.
Hey, I used to be a gladiator. I know what it's like. It's all good.
And then that's kind of when the crowd starts to realize who joined them. As the Carl and his attendees step up, and everyone just kind of quickly starts to bow. Mm-hmm. Before, when you noticed him, he had kind of a stark face. Comes up, kind of gives you an appraising look, and goes, good fight. I need men like you. Come, you must join us for our feast tonight.
Excellent.
The other lord, it has no change in his appearance, as he's just looking at you, kind of trying to figure out, who is this?
Well, Ursa is going to go back to the tavern before the feast. He's going to get back into his armor now that all the festivities are done. Well, actually, there's still a drinking contest to go.
Yep, there's still the drinking contest to go.
That could probably be resolved with a single stamina plus resistance plus stamina roll.
People start to get kind of, they start to kind of get cleaned off and head back to the inn. Next time on Games of Divinity, a Northern Chronicle.
Just like Mom used to brew.
I just think it's a fun name.
Azorpus?
Rising up out of the field. Every harvest moon.
That's great. I like it.
So now we've got a Viking headdress instead of the trucker cap.
No. You're a terrible name. Shut up. I hate you.